It's showtime. Midnight wine tasting with me, Gina. I couldn't choose just 3 bottles, so I brought 4 home with me. Let's taste them. I'm gonna start red. I have Domaine Josmeyer with me. Husband and wife team over in Beaujolais. They work in Charbonniéres and Fleurie. Fleurie is where we are getting this wine from. 100% Gamay, of course, coming from the crew of Fleurie, from the Louis D of Charbonniéres. The vines going into this wine have been grown organically for over 20 years. The team behind Capaldo are working the vines by hand. Everything is either horse or hand maintenanced, hand-picked, full stemmed grapes, partial carbonic maceration, working in fiberglass tanks, so no steel, no oak. 2022 vintage. Let's check it out. It looks like a Beaujolais, semi-translucent. There is like a slight haziness to it, but no crazy sediment in there. It looks very vibrant and purpley red. Super technical. It's really fragrant. There's a lovely aroma and really bright, really juicy. Partial carbonic maceration on here. You can definitely smell that. Lots of dark berries, bright berries. Smells like a touch of brambly and a touch of sour too. Okay, let's taste it. Happy Saturday night. Oh, so refreshing. Don't mind me, one more. I'm getting like cherry pie filling, just the filling. Kind of tart yet sweet cherries. There's some darker fruits, kind of like a blueberry pie filling too. There's some blueberry on there. There's a lovely light freshness also. Maybe you could throw a little violet in there, some florals. Then drops you down into a touch of earthiness, maybe a little white mushroom. Tannins are super fine. The hit at the very end of swallowing the wine, but at the front, mostly at the front of the mouth. Really easy, inviting, delicious Beaujolais. Fun fact too. So like I said, husband-wife team. Husband, French. Wife, American. Who also worked at Per Se back in the day when they first opened. Restaurant, Thomas Keller's restaurant over in New York. She worked alongside or with the owners of the restaurant I work at, Jill and Sean of Copine. So, we're bringing it back home, baby. Thank you. Let's move on. I'm gonna go white. I'm gonna give it a quick rinse. I'm gonna stay in France. We're gonna move up north to Alsace. Domaine Josmeyer. Josmeyer. Multi-generation family ran winery, like 5 generations. Sisters are running it now. This is Riesling, coming from the Grand Cru vines of Hengst. 2014 vintage Soma is the name of the bottle. This is kind of the last picked of that vineyard. Name is celebrating Celtic festival, basically Halloween. Oh, Riesling. It has a really pretty golden hue to it. It's clean and it's pristine. There is no sediment. It looks like there's a touch of weight to it though, as I swirl. It's aromatic. It has a bit of that petrol on there, but more honey. It smells cool. It smells rich but clean. It smells stony. It smells minerally. Let's taste it. That's good. Very much like what I was getting on the nose, I got on the palate. There is a little bit of that petrol, which is classic delicious. Riesling, stony, kind of granite minerality, a little petrichor, light honeyness, some touches of citrus. It kind of reminds me of a chamomile tea with a little honey in there. So we could even talk some florals. So I had this paired with the cheese course, brie cheese, served with a red pepper jam, pine nuts, and honey. Simple yet delicious. This did its job for sure. Moving on. Let's go red again. Black on black. Let's go into Italy. Let's go into Campania, Italy. Let's go into Taurasi, Italy. This is Tenute Capaldo. They make one red and one white wine. We have tasted their white wine in the past. Now let's taste their red. They call this Gulielmus, which is Latin for William. Let's just call it William. 100% Aglianico, coming from about 2-hectare site that is the highest growing vineyard in Taurasi, DOCG, in Campania, Italy. Volcanic soils. Thank you, Vesuvius. This is Riserva, so fermentation is happening in steel. They are moving into barrel for 18 to 24 months and then 2 years in the bottle prior to release. Pretty small production. A little over 7,000 bottles were produced of this one. Let's taste it. Okay, this is looking like a little more serious of a red. It is pretty dark and condensed. Quite opaque. Can't really see through it. It is clean and pristine. There is no sediment in here. And from what I remember finishing the bottles, there was no sediment in the bottom. 2017 vintage. Dark ruby red with maybe a touch of burgundy. Subtle aromas. Stick your nose in there to smell it. It smells dense and condensed. It smells dark and brooding and garrigue. It smells earthy, wild earth. It smells like wild earth. I'm getting dark berries, little black licorice, which I always get with Italian wines. Garrigue for sure, like we're talking, you know, dusty earth with like some low growing scrub, some thyme bushes, maybe a little lavender. Let's taste it. A subtle wine with a very convicted character. He knows who he is. He's not gonna shout from the rooftops, but he knows who he is. It takes a moment to get the expression on the palate. It definitely doesn't hit up front. It hits towards the mid and back palate. That's where you start getting the really dark, brambly berries, woodsiness, a little garrigue, and then the tannins just take over. They take you for the rest of the ride. They are driving this fucking show. This is a food wine, 100%. It's not gonna show itself perfectly without some protein, such as lamb loin and Preciade. I have this paired with our wall grazing lamb loin, brushed with a little Dijon mustard, rolled in fresh herbs and breadcrumb, served with a housemaid's merguez sausage, wrapped in a fouille brick, lemon chickpeas, compressed cucumber, and a garlic and lamb jus. I wish I had that food in front of me right now, because this wine would fucking shine. It wants to open up, it wants to express itself, and it's not gonna happen the way that it should. But beautiful, amazing. It's going to be a great food wine. It was a great food wine. The guests very much enjoyed it. Okay. Let's go orange. Amber, skin contact. How do you like to talk about your orange wines with your guests? Okay, this is Soma Vines. Another lovely couple. Not far from Alsace, but crossing the border into Germany. This is called Golden Hour. It is 100% Pinot Blanc, coming from organic vines. Spending 7 days on skin, put it into fairly small 225-liter oak barrels, old oak barrels, not new. Aged for 6 months, unfiltered and unfined, and no added sulfites. Golden hour. For all you Gen Zs out there. Orange wine. Looks like an orange wine, has an orange color. As it is unfined and unfiltered, it is cloudy, semi-transparent. No huge sediment, like there's no like massive sludge in the bottom. I will say that there are some fairly larger particles that will kind of float around. I didn't find them to be a massive problem for guests or for drinking, but I did notice them. Aromatic, very aromatic. Bright orange, sour and tart, lambic-y, wild fermentation smelling. But it smells juicy. It smells like a cutie on the rinds. It also smells like a little herbaceous too. Let's taste it. You know, it is surprisingly subtle on the palate. As aromatic as the nose is, the palate is much more subdued. Yes, we're getting that like soft tangerine. It's very much like a cuties, right? Those little cutie tangerines. You peel them, you have all of that very thin pith on there, and maybe like a little bit of the rind that you accidentally forgot to take off as you're biting it. Soft, juicy. There is some tannin. It definitely dries, but not aggressively. It's incredibly fine. It's like a white sand beach. And then there is some like lifted floral aromatics, like a little chamomile tea. I'm getting a little baby's breath, like dried baby's breath, not fresh baby's breath, dried baby's breath. Maybe a little dried eucalyptus. You have a lovely dried bouquet of flowers that has some dried orange rinds, dried baby's breath, and dried eucalyptus. So I had this paired with our main course scallops. It is a ballsy move for me to go orange wine with our main courses. Seared scallops with white beans and little tomatoes. It's like a white bean ragu. Little flatbread crackers with halibut brandade. And a sauce pea stew of garlic and basil and some fresh basil leaves. Okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Happy Saturday night. Take care. Bye.